What does your body feel like in zero gravity?
What inspires you to become an astronaut?
What exercise do you do, and do you sweat in space?
Would a yo-yo work in microgravity?
So it works.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
In Houston, we are ready for the event.
Armstrong Flight Research Center, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Armstrong Flight Research Center. How do you hear me?
Armstrong Flight Research Center, I have you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Greetings from Armstrong Flight Research Center. We're very proud of our long heritage of involvement with aerospace history. We've got several hundred kids from the Antelope Valley, and they're all ready to speak with you.
That is fantastic. I am ready to take their questions today. Just so you know, we are sitting in the Columbus module of the space station.
I'm Jet Lahan. Can you describe the feeling of launching into space?
Well, let me tell you, that was an amazing experience. Certainly 2 minutes before, everybody in the rocket, in the Soyuz vehicle, becomes very quiet because we know it's about to come. And when those engines light and you feel that rumble, it is amazing. And you know you're going somewhere, and you're going somewhere really, really fast. But honestly, once we took off, it was an extremely smooth ride. I was almost a little bit surprised at that. And it takes us about 8 minutes and 45 seconds to get all the way up into space. And that time passed by so quickly. But I was just enjoying every minute of it.
My name is Avery Wallace. And how many years of preparation and training does it take to become an astronaut? And if you are not an astronaut, what could you do with your education?
Avery, that's a great question. It's one I get quite a lot. You know, we have so many different types of astronauts at NASA and certainly around the world. I happen to be a medical doctor, but I started off in electrical engineering. So when I was done with high school and I graduated from high school, I went to university and studied engineering. And from there, I went to medical school and became a doctor. After that, I worked for a little bit as a doctor for NASA and then went and became an astronaut. But if you look at a lot of the people I work with, there's so many backgrounds, like Dr. Alex Gerst, who's here with me today on board Space Station. He is a scientist with the background in geology. And then we also have Dr. Drew Feustel. We have Ricky Arnold, who's a teacher. We have engineers, scientists, test pilots, doctors, all kinds of backgrounds. So what I tell people is, hey, don't think about doing something that you think NASA may like to become an astronaut. You need to do something that you're going to love. And that's one of the reasons why I went to medical school. I absolutely love being a physician. And when you're really good at what you do, NASA likes that too.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Dietchen, and when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut, and I want to be the first person on Mars. Is living in a space station anything like a trip to Mars?
Charlotte, fantastic question, and absolutely. So what we're doing here on the space station is many different things. Number one, we're learning to live together in a very close environment. Number two, We can make our own water up here. Do you guys know what we recycle every day to make our own water up here? That's right, our pee. So we utilize our pee every day, and we have a special piece of equipment that turns that into water. And that may sound kind of gross, but that's exactly the same thing we do on Earth. So a lot of the things we use on the space station to help us learn, create oxygen, make water, these are the same things we're going to use if we ever go to Mars. And so the other thing we're looking at is how well do we as people do in space? Sometimes our muscles get a little weak and our bones get a little weak, and this could happen to us on the way to Mars. So we do special exercise up here on the space station to make sure that doesn't happen, and I think we would do the same thing on Mars. So the answer to your question is absolutely yes. Everything we learn up here, we're going to use on the way to Mars.
Hi, my name is Chase, and my question is, how many planets can you see from the space station?
Chase, believe it or not, we can see just about the same number of planets that you can see from the surface of Earth. It seems like on the space station we're really far away, but we're orbiting very close to the Earth's surface, and we're only about 250 to 290 miles up. And you think, no, that's really high. Surely you can see a lot more. Well, the planets are definitely much brighter to us than they would be on the ground, but we can almost see the same things.
Hi, my name is Emily Hammonds, and I was wondering if you could use one word to describe what it's like being in space, what word would you choose and why?
You know, I think the one word I would choose would be free, because you're free to do things like this. And I can do that all day long. I can fly around corners. I can do twists and turns. It's amazing how free you are up here as a human to move around. On the Earth, we are limited in a sense by gravity. We walk on certain surfaces. We can't walk on the walls. We can't walk on the ceiling, but I can up here. And so it gives me a lot more freedom to move around and do the work I want to do.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. Is it hard to leave your family when you go into space to find new discoveries and change the world?
Yes, it's actually very hard to leave your family. But, you know, I brought lots of pictures of them up here with me, even those of my two dogs that I have back at home that I miss very much too. And so if you look in our little crew quarters, and our crew quarters is like our tiny bedroom that we have up here on the space station, and we each have our own, and it's your private space. No one goes in your bedroom unless they ask you first. But if you go inside my bedroom here on the space station, you see all my pictures of family and friends and things that remind me of the Earth, and that helps out a lot.
Hi, my name is Austin Hogstad. How many countries helped build the International Space Station?
Wow, if you look at the number of countries that helped build this space station, certainly we have NASA from the United States. We have the European Space Agency and all the countries in the European Consortium. We have the Japanese Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency, and of course the Russian Space Agency. And the neat thing about that is not only did they help build it, but we're living up here together. And right now on the space station, we have 3 Americans, 1 person from Germany, and 2 Russians. And so we have at least 3 countries up here represented at any one time, and it's really neat because we get to learn about each other's cultures and country and food, and we do that long before the mission even begins. We do that in training so that we become very good friends and we get to know each other's families as well. So it's a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Eric Swanson. Are you able to grow any plants on the International Space Station?
Yes, absolutely. We can grow plants up here. We've grown lettuces and greens. And the other day, Ricky was harvesting some very tiny calabasas plants. And let me tell you, when you're on the space station, there is nothing more rewarding than actually seeing a living plant, a living thing that is green. And when you look at it, it just makes you feel good inside. And I'm really hoping we get to grow some more because I've seen some pictures and I know people have made some pretty good hamburgers up here with that lettuce.
Hi, my name is Ryan Swanson. What is your favorite thing to do in space that you can't do on Earth?
Ryan, I'm glad you asked because up here in space, unlike on Earth, we get to play with our food, and I'm going to show you. So this is a drink bag that I have. And you really don't pour liquids in space because of something called surface tension. All the liquid sticks to itself. And so when I open up this clip, the liquid's going to start to come out. And I want you to watch what happens. So if you look at that, it's just sticking to my hand. It's not falling off. It's not falling to the floor. And again, that's something called surface tension. And so the neat thing is at dinner time, I can put my lemonade on my hand and drink it very slowly. So it works really well, and we can do that with almost any food we have up here. I can open a packet of soup, and it doesn't go anywhere. It sticks right there. And so you got to be careful, though. Sometimes these games don't go very well, and the soup ends up on the walls of the space station, and then we have to work really hard to clean it off.
Hello, my name is Kayla Howder. How do you get supplies you need, especially if there is an emergency?
That's a great question. We have a lot of special supply vehicles that come up here all the time to the space station. Some are from our commercial companies from the United States. Some are from Russia. Some are from Japan. And so we have a regularly scheduled kind of vehicle that comes up. And so that's one way we get supplies. We can also bring supplies with us when we launch on our Soyuz vehicles. But the important thing to remember is that, you know, a lot of people think about, well, what if someone gets sick up here? Where are the supplies if someone gets sick? We actually have a really good medical kit up here where we have medicines that you can take, and we have bandages if you need a certain bandage. So we try and keep as much up here as possible to help us out if something should go wrong, whether that's with somebody if they get sick or with the space station and we need to repair something. And we've gotten pretty good over the years at kind of guessing what that might be. Now, I'll knock on wood as I say that, but we do have a lot of extra supplies up here, and we're always keeping track of what we're using to see what we might need in the future.
Hello, my name is Laura Kroll, and what does society need to do to create more equality in the science and engineering field?
So equality in science and engineering, you know, the way I look at that is it's all about exposure at a young age. I was lucky enough that my mother and father exposed me to the engineering field probably at the age of 6 or 7. And I think if we can grab kids and put them either in camps or free open days at museums and show them what science is about early on, that inspires them to kind of follow that in the future. And what I tell also a lot of young kids, because sometimes they see somebody that has a really cool job and they want to learn more about it, but they're just afraid to ask. And they think, oh, that person's too busy, or they're not going to talk to me. You know what? Go ahead and ask. Go ahead and bother them. Bother them about their job. That part of what I consider our job is to tell you about what I do and how really cool it is. And a lot of people are that way. So don't be afraid. Go ahead and ask somebody if you think they have a really cool job so that you can find out more about it.
Well,
This is Yasmin. How fast are you flying around the Earth?
We're flying Earth.
Well, that is pretty darn fast. In fact, this computer I have pulled up right here next to me shows us. And right before I started talking with you guys, we had just started flying over the United States. And now we are way past that, coming off the eastern edge of South America. So we are flying about 28,000 kilometers an hour up here, which is super fast. Now, do we feel that? No, we don't feel that. But when I look out the window in the cupola towards the Earth, and I'm looking at a country, I can't turn around and go get a snack and come back because that country's gone. We've already moved on to the next country. So when you look at it from our viewpoint, things are moving really quickly, and it's really fun to watch.
This is Talia. What is the longest amount of time a human can live in low Earth orbit?
You know, I don't think we've discovered that yet. We've hit a lot of records. So certainly Peggy Whitson spent just about 665 days in space. Scott Kelly recently spent 340 days in space. Now, that was at one time. Peggy's missions were kind of consecutive missions. The Russians have had somebody up in space as well, over a year. But, you know, what is the boundary for the human body? We don't know yet. We're trying to discover that. Our stays up here in the space station are about 6 months right now. But I think we will be flying people longer and longer. And it's important to look at that because when we go to places that are further away, they're going to be much longer trips. And so we're constantly working on how can we keep us safe as astronauts on board the space station on a long trip like that.
Hello, my name is Finley Larson. Once you're done in space, do you have to relearn things like how to walk?
Fantastic question, and the answer is yes. So your body, when it comes up here to space, it gets used to being in an environment where, you know, you can talk to people like this, you can talk to people like this, you can turn around, nobody cares. And your brain and your ears and everything think that that is absolutely normal. Well, when you get back to Earth, that is not normal. And so your brain almost has to relearn what it's like to be in gravity again. And it can be a little tough the first day or two, but the body and the brain are absolutely amazing, and that the brain is constantly learning, it's constantly remembering where we were. And I think our brain remembers very quickly that usually we are walking, utilizing gravity and walking on the Earth. And so it picks it back up just like this. And you see sometimes 2 or 3 days after someone lands from the space station, you wouldn't be able to tell unless you looked really closely that they had spent about 6 months in space. But yeah, your body is relearning a lot of things those first few days and first few weeks.
Hi, my name's Jasmine. What would you say to those who question why we continue to explore space?
So I'd say that as a human species, it absolutely is our job to explore. Certainly Earth is our home, but I think we'll be finding other homes in the future, and it's our job to make sure that we learn how to best live on board the International Space Station so we can continue to explore. The other reason we're up here is a lot of the science we do up here benefits people down on the ground. And people say, well, how is that? Well, I'll give you one example. If you've ever had your mom or your dad or your grandparents be in the hospital for a very long period of time, and when they come home, they're really, really weak. Their muscles are weaker, and things just don't work quite the same. Well, we're doing a study up here because when we live in space, it's almost the same as if we're in a hospital bed. Because look, I just float around all day. I'm not working very hard. So we get the same weakness in our muscles. And we're trying to develop new techniques to help stop those muscles from getting weaker. So we could use those same techniques on people who have very long stays in the hospital. So the next time Grandma and Grandpa goes in the hospital, hopefully when they get back home, they're not as weak as they would have been in the past, and they feel better and they heal more quickly. So that's just one example of some of the science we're doing up here to help people on the ground.
Serena, thank you very much for your time. It's been a privilege speaking with you, and I know all the kids here have been very excited to have the opportunity. And next time you pass over the Antelope Valley, take a close look from the ISS. I'm going to try and make sure they all stand outside and wave up to you. Thanks again.
Absolutely. I'll be looking for all those waves. Armstrong Flight Research Center, it was great to talk with you today.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants from Armstrong Flight Research Center. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.